Part 97. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi-Sing Cao. Chapter 963. 961. At the same time, she was also curious about Yunur, the era in which Changling God lived, and wanted to see it. Close your eyes, Huo Yingzhi said softly. It was time for He Tian to understand something. Maybe she could remember the past. Those pasts, although painful, are also part of their memories, and they are incomplete without them. Huo Yingzhi would not force He Tian, but if He Tian was willing, he would be happy to let her know. He Tian closed her eyes and felt the water. She wanted to open her eyes, but thinking that Huo Yingzhi wouldn't let her open her eyes, He Tian insisted on closing her eyes and feeling the water around her. He Tian didn't know how much time passed, but she kept hugging Huo Yingzhi tightly with her eyes closed. He Tian felt that he had stopped somewhere, and then Huo Yingzhi moved a few times, and then continued to move forward, all relying on feeling. I saw Huo Yingzhi waving his hand, playing the magic formula, and entering the closed underground palace below. You can open your eyes now, Huo Yingzhi said softly. Every time he came here, he always felt a little melancholy. Here are the every bits and pieces of him that were recorded here. He Tian felt her feet were on the ground, and then she opened her eyes when she heard Huo Yingzhi's voice again. As soon as He Tian opened her eyes, she was shocked by everything in front of her. What is this place? Huo Yingzhi looked around at the familiar things and smiled softly, things from a long, long time ago. These things can't be taken out anyway, so you can just take a look. He Tian nodded and said, everything is a treasure if you take it out. Brother Yingzhi, Kijia village has a beautiful environment and rich products. Does it have anything to do with this place? It has a certain relationship. Huo Yingzhi smiled and said, let's show you around. He Tian was very curious and kept looking at the things around her, but she didn't dare to reach out for fear of breaking it or having too much power to hurt her. As I kept walking along a stone path, I gradually felt the heat getting hotter and hotter. Brother Yingzhi, is this the alchemy furnace room you mentioned? He Tian asked, taking out a handkerchief to wipe his sweat. Huo Yingzhi nodded and said, yes. It will be hotter inside. When he reached the end, Huo Yingzhi cast a spell, and a stone door opened. On another wall in the middle of the stone house, there was something like a fireplace, with thick fire and magma inside. It's too hot inside, let's not go in, He Tian said, not daring to step forward. I believe you, this matter has nothing to do with the Snake King. But you also said that the heat is not enough to make it happen. Hot spring. Huo Yingzhi smiled and said, this is the reason why I came here today. Secretary Qi is right, he can only stop him for a while, but not for the rest of his life. If there is no more financial income, someone will ask to come here in the future. Rather than waiting until factories are built and destroying the environment, it is better to develop some tourism industries early to take advantage of it. He Tian nodded and said, that's true, but won't this be very troublesome? He Tian would be happy if he could help Kijia village, but only if it would not cause trouble to Huo Yingzhi. No, Huo Yingzhi smiled, as long as I seal the entrance to the cave, more heat will flow into the underground river, and the large puddle halfway up the mountain will become a hot spring area. Well, if it doesn't have any impact, just do it. He Tian nodded and said, if it does, don't do it. A rumbling sound was heard, and a large stone next to the fireplace gradually moved towards the front of the fireplace. Only a click was heard, and the stone was completely embedded into the seal of the fireplace. After only a few breaths, He Tian felt that he was no longer so hot. Brother Yingzhi, it's not hot anymore, He Tian said, has the heat transferred to other places? Yes, Huo Yingzhi smiled, I'll take you to see it. He Tian nodded and said, okay. Huo Yingzhi held He Tian's hand. There were many simple stone murals on the stone walls on both sides, as if they had been legendary for thousands of years. As if a lifetime had passed, Tianation's eyes were a little blurred and she was hallucinating. The woman in red is dancing again. The man in black is playing the flute. The woman in red dances on the snow-covered mountain top to the sound of the man in black, and the scene changes to show the two chasing and laughing in the mountains. Huo Yingji felt the changes in the people around him. He turned around and was slightly startled. Tianation's eyes were blurry, as if he had seen them for thousands of years, or as if he had seen an endless abyss. Tian Tian, Tian Tian. Huo Yingji called softly. Tian Tian was startled for a moment, then shook her head quickly and said, "Brother Yingji, let's leave quickly. I don't know why, here, there is always a sadness lingering in my heart, and I feel sour." "Okay, let's go back." Huo Yingji nodded. If Tian Tian can't remember it, then he can't remember it. Maybe one day he will remember it, but that will happen in the future. Some things will not appear just because you avoid them blindly, nor will they appear because you have been pursuing them all the time. Everything will be revealed when the time comes. Tian Tian closed her eyes, and Huo Yingji took Tian Tian away. After leaving the cave in the back mountain, Huo Yingji and Tian Tian came to the big pit in the back mountain. As expected, some heat was rising. Tian Tian stretched out her hand to try it, and said pleasantly, "It's really hotter than before, but without the Snake King, it shouldn't have the effect of sending children to the hot spring, right?" "Haha, no more." Huo Yingji smiled. If there were, village chief Chi would probably be worried that family planning work would be difficult to carry out. Yes, Tian Tian smiled, the city has strict control, but the countryside just turns a blind eye. Several families in the village went out to avoid family planning and did not come back until they had a son. Huo Yingji smiled and said, "Okay, don't worry about it, everyone has their own way of living. Let's go back. It is estimated that what happens in the hot spring tomorrow will alarm the people in the village. Should you think about whether to invest?" "Yes," Tian Tian smiled, "this is a very good project. Let's go back and discuss it with Jinmin." Seeing that Tian Tian had regained her usual agility, Huo Yingji took Tian Tian away. "From now on, I will never take her to the mansion under the underground river again." This time, he was reckless. He originally thought that Tian Tian would be able to remember things from the past and perhaps have the same skills as before, so that no one would dare to harm Tian Tian in the future. Even if he is not with her, she has the ability to protect herself. However, things in the world are most mysterious and erratic. Forget it, don't think about it anymore, all the mechanisms have been exhausted, and there are still some omissions in the end. It would be fine if he did everything he could to protect Tian Tian. In the first life, Yuner died for him. In the second life, Tian Tian also suffered a lifetime of misery because of his weakness. In the third life, Huo Yingji will learn all the lessons from the past, love her wholeheartedly, protect her, and don't care about anything else. Recommended by my friend Lonely to review The Cold King. The medical concubine wants to elope the good-for-nothing lady versus the evil and sinister prince. Mutual pressure, the man is strong and the woman is strong, the sweet pet is not to be missed. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 964. 962. Back home, Tian Tian was a little nervous and had difficulty falling asleep. Several times during the night, Tian Tian held Huo Yingji's arm tightly, sucking in the warmth from Huo Yingji's body. Only when she felt someone was around her did she slowly and completely relax. Huo Yingji smiled bitterly. Tian Tian was dreaming again. "It's just a dream, I wonder if he is there?" Huo Yingji looks forward to having him, but is afraid of having him. Huo Yingji didn't fall asleep, he just patted Tianation's back gently. Tian Tian, who originally had nightmares, gradually calmed down and breathed steadily. Huo Yingji was very conflicted, but he also knew that this was what He Tian Tian had to go through. Although he could directly seal He Tian's spiritual thoughts, the previous events were also part of He Tian, and he could not make arbitrary decisions. Early the next morning, He Tian was sleeping when she heard Chi Xiaoyan running over in a hurry. Grandma Chi San and old man Chi are exercising in the yard. Xiaoyan, what's wrong with you? Grandma Chi San asked curiously, you are in such a hurry so early in the morning. What happened to your family? Chi Xiaoyan smiled and said, third grandma, second grandpa, the hot spring in the back mountain has appeared. Today, Uncle Shuming came home early in the morning and told my dad. My dad has already taken people to the back mountain. I came to talk to Sister Tian Tian. Sister Tian Tian, let's go take a look. Hearing the sound outside, He Tian woke up. Haha, everyone knows it so soon. He Tian smiled, maybe the hot spring is too deeply rooted in people's hearts. Yeah, get up quickly. I think a lot of people have gone to see her, Huo Yingji said with a smile. Chi Xiaoyan is very impatient. If you don't get up, she will probably rush in soon. That's right. He Tian quickly put on her clothes. The child is sleeping, please keep an eye on it. Okay, Huo Yingji smiled. He Tian usually looked after the children at work. Now that he was out playing, he tried to look after the children as much as possible so that He Tian could go out and play. He Tian also liked this division of labor and enjoyed Huo Yingji's favor. Huo Yingji was not without gains. The three children became closer to him. Today, He Tian wore a ruffled shirt with 3/4 sleeves, light green pants, and a pair of cloth shoes. Xiaoyan, I just heard you say that the hot spring behind you has appeared. Is it true? He Tian pretended to be surprised, as if she didn't believe it. Really, Uncle Shuming won't tell lies, Chi Xiaoyan said, and he won't joke with my dad early in the morning. Come on, let's go take a look. He Tian listened and nodded, okay, wait for me, I'll wash the rice, and cook the rice porridge. At this time Chi Jinmin also came out. Hearing that there was something interesting going on, he wanted to go with him. When He Tian finished it, she ran towards the back mountain with Chi Xiaoyan and Chi Jinmin. On the way, I met Chi Daniu, and the three of us became four. Chi Xiaoyan, Chi Daniu, and He Tian have walked on this road countless times. If you close your eyes, you can probably find the back mountain. Although Chi Jinmin was not born and raised in Kijia village, he has lived here for a long time and is very familiar with the back mountain. Maybe the news has spread and people from the village can be met on the road. Everyone said hello and ran quickly up the mountain. When we reached several large pits halfway up the mountain, many people were already standing around. Everyone was smiling and very happy. I saw the hot air and smoke rising around the big pit, coupled with the lush trees, flowers, and grass all around. It was like a fairyland on earth. Oh my God, Chi Xiaoyan exclaimed, there really is a hot spring. Yes, you can take a bath again in the future. Chi Daniu smiled, by the way, Jinmin, you haven't taken a bath before, right? It's very comfortable. Chi Jinmin nodded and said, I have soaked in hot springs abroad, but I haven't run in the country yet. Let's take a closer look, and I smell a special smell in the hot springs. Several people moved forward and squeezed inside. Chi Xiaoyan had a bad temper and stretched out her hand to test the water. Oh, it's so hot, Chi Xiaoyan said with a smile, it seems that I need to add some cold water. When I come here, I always feel more comfortable than at the foot of the mountain. It's really like a fairyland on earth. It seems that the tourism industry that Uncle Chi mentioned can be developed, Chi Daniu said with a smile. With this feature, it is more of a gimmick. She does not want the factory to pollute the mountains and rivers of her hometown. Everyone was intoxicated by the hot spring and reluctant to leave. However, although this place is like a fairyland on earth, the people staying here are not immortals, but ordinary people, and they will still be hungry. Feeling hungry, everyone left one after another. He Tian Tian and the other four chatted and laughed on the way, thinking about when they could take a bath. Back home, He Tianation's mood was also lifted. Qi Jianmin was telling Tang Qian how good the hot springs in the back mountain were. Tang Qian's eyes sparkled after hearing this. He had already been coveting the twins from Huo Yingji's family. When it was time to take a dip, he would be the first to take a dip. It would be great if he could take a dip with Qi Jianmin. Tang Qian was indeed a genius in business and asked hurriedly, "By the way, I heard yesterday that Qijia village is going to develop tourism. Can I invest?" "You also want to invest?" Qi Jianmin asked curiously. "Are you optimistic about it too?" "Of course," Tang Qian said, "the scenery here is very good. It would be a pity to develop industry at the expense of others. Developing tourism is more suitable for the local area. There are local legends and beautiful scenery. The next step is how to get some supporting things. Plus publicity, it's all together." "Well, you're right, I want to design it myself." Qi Jianmin smiled and said, "I also want to invest. Sister Tian Tian and Sister Xiao Yan probably have ideas. Don't worry, I will ask about it when I have a chance and take a look." "Uncle, what are your plans?" "Okay." Tang Qian smiled and looked forward to it. "My investment is also your investment." Qi Jianmin was stunned for a moment, and then he thought of his grandmother's previous request. His face was slightly red and his eyes were full of affection. "If you are Ruyi, you will not let me down," Qi Jianmin said softly, with a firm tone. Tang Qian moved slightly. This was a heart-pounding feeling and a shock to his soul. With Qi Jianmin's words, he felt that whatever he did was worth it. "It's agreed, it's a deal," Tang Qian said, "it will be fine for the rest of my life." Now Tang Qian somewhat understands what his father said. If his wife can't agree with you, then who else can you trust? He hopes Qi Jianmin trusts him, and he will trust Qi Jianmin. Two people support each other and stay together forever. Just like his parents, they support each other and trust each other throughout their lives, and nothing can tear them apart. He also wants this kind of love, and now that he has waited for it, all he has to do in the future is to cherish it. While everyone was laughing together, Qi Jianmin and Tang Qian, who were sitting in the back, looked at each other affectionately. Since Tang Qian agreed to Grandma Qi San's request, He Tianation's attitude towards Tang Qian has changed a bit, and she no longer targets him for anything. The little wife of time travel, YZMB, traveled through time and became a little Lolita. She thought she would become the rich second generation, but she didn't know that she would become the rich second generation's wife for the big bad wolf. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 965. 963. Village Chief Chi was so tired of the hot springs at the back that he didn't have time to eat, so he came to Grandma Chi San's house to discuss tourism development with everyone. Now the most capable and wealthy people are all at Grandma Chi San's house, and he has to come over to get some good ideas. Secretary Chi's arrival was within everyone's expectations. "Tian Tian, Jianmin, now that the hot spring in the back mountain is here, shouldn't we start tourism?" Village Chief Chi said with a smile. "Everyone in the village has money and can raise funds. I also know that it's not enough, we still need investment. Instead of asking someone we don't know to invest, it's better to let you invest. In this case, you will know the basics and won't deceive us," Village Chief Chi said with a smile. "Are you interested? Let's discuss it while you are all here." He Tian Tian smiled and said, "This is my hometown. I like it here very much. Since there is such a good investment project, we are naturally willing to invest." "Yes, Uncle Chi Jianmin said with a smile, we also have one for our family. By the way, Uncle Chi, can you leave the design to me? I want to design some scenic spots with my own hands, so that they are both humanistic and natural. Harmony and unity, without destroying the environment of the back mountain. I'm not worried about leaving it to someone else, Secretary Chi said with a smile. Looking at the house you built for the third aunt, it can be seen that you are very good at design. This house is somewhat antique and very modern. Everyone likes it. I was wondering how to build such a house, and I also remembered such a house. Chi Jianmin smiled and said, I have drawings in my house. Don't we have a construction team to build houses in our village? If they want it, I will give it to them. In the future, our village will all build houses like ours, and we can become a house kind of characteristics. Well, okay, village chief Chi chuckled, okay, then I'll talk to the others. Chi Xiao Yan was also very interested. She had already told her father at home that she wanted to invest, and said, Dad, since there is a hot spring now, you should settle the matter earlier and set up a company. Kijia village uses land and other natural resources. How many shares will be taken by the resource? We will pay and each will take a share. Yes, I'll do it now, village chief Chi said with a smile. If we take advantage of it sooner, our village will benefit from it sooner. Secretary Chi is different now. He has a broad vision now, otherwise he would not have proposed developing tourism instead of industry. Huo Yingji saw everyone talking and listened carefully without saying anything. When everyone's honest thoughts bring benefits to themselves, they also bring benefits to others. Only this kind of cooperation can be more permanent. Village Chief Chi walked away in a rage. There is a hot spring in the back mountain, and people have already gone to bathe in the hot spring. However, the water in the big pit was very hot. Many people led the hot water into the small pit and then started to soak. So there were many small houses surrounded by straw appearing on the mountainside, and many people took a bath in them. Men and women take their own side and do not interfere with each other. He Tian, Chi Xiao Yan, Chi Jianmin, and Chi Daniu also ran away secretly. It was only 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. At this time, there was almost no one around. They cleaned the pool for bathing and then started to bathe. It felt so comfortable. Tang Qian and Huo Yingzhe were worried and kept watch not far away. After more than an hour, the 4 of them felt completely refreshed. Secretary Qi was busy after that. As for the matter of cooperative payment, they would handle these matters after Secretary Qi had decided on it. Time passed quickly. Qi Daniu's wedding arrived. He Tian used her spare time to go to the city with Chi Jianmin and Chi Xiao Yan and bought some practical things for Chi Daniu as gifts. At the same time, He Tian bought a piece of bright red fabric, took it home, measured Daniu Chi's size, and then worked with Grandma Chi San to make a cheongsam for Daniu Chi, whether it was the wedding day or a few days before and after the wedding. Can be worn. Grandma Chi San also embroidered plum blossoms on it. Chi Jianmin gave her a pair of red cowhide high heels measuring 5 to 6 centimeters, which were exactly the size of Chi Daniu. As for Chi Xiao Yan, seeing that Chi Daniu was plain and had no jewelry, she went straight to buy a pair of gold earrings. She can definitely wear this when she gets married. Chi Daniu had originally prepared a red shirt and black trousers, which were popular at the moment, but when she saw the clothes prepared by He Tian and the others, she was very excited. It's so beautiful, Chi Daniu said with a smile. Sister Tian, Sister Xiao Yan, Jianmin, I will wear this dress when I get married. Okay, the color is very nice, and there are shoes and so on. He Tian smiled and said, by the way, on your wedding day, I will put your hair up and dress you up beautifully. Chi Daniu nodded and said, thank you, Sister Tian. Who doesn't want to look good on their wedding day? On the right day, Huo Yingzhe and Tang Qian also went over to help. Grandma Chi San and Old Man Chi helped take care of the children at home. He Tian Tian, Chi Xiao Yan and others got up early in the morning and came over to dress up De Niu Chi. Chi De Niu's hair was shawl, neither long nor short. He Tian Tian carefully made her hair into a bun and put 2 small red flowers in her hair. They were made from leftover materials when making clothes. It was not made by He Tian Tian, but by Grandma Chi San. At that time, Grandma Chi San also said that when Chi Jinmin gets married, she will personally make her granddaughter's clothes and headdress. Chi Xiao Yan knew how to put on makeup, so she took out the cosmetics and put makeup on Chi Daniu, which immediately made the delicate-looking Chi Daniu look bright and attractive. Chi Jinmin held the mirror in front of Chi Daniu and said, "Look at yourself, you will be surprised." Chi Daniu was a little nervous, but when she saw the mirror, she was very excited. Chi Daniu touched her face in a daze, and murmured to herself, "Oh my God, I'm pretty good looking." "You are already very good looking, be more confident." He Tian Tian smiled, "otherwise your partner wouldn't have been pursuing you for so many years and would still be willing to come to Kijia village with you." "Yes, big girl, you are really beautiful," Chi Xiao Yan said with a smile. "When you get married in the future, I wish you a happy wedding." "Okay, hurry up and put on your wedding clothes and shoes," Chi Jinmin said with a smile. "I'll be here to pick you up soon." Chi Jinmin opened the box on the bed, which contained a red wedding dress and a carefully sewn cheongsam that was 10 centimeters below the knee. Put on stockings, bra, and finally a suitable cheongsam and shoes, and stand in front of the full-length mirror. "It's so beautiful. Chi Daniu's figure is most suitable for wearing a cheongsam." Aunt Lu came in from outside and was startled when she saw her daughter who had changed her clothes. Then she smiled and said, "Girl, you look really good today. When you get married, live a good life. If you are wronged, go home. As long as your dad and I now, this home is your support." The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 966. 964. Everyone was deeply touched after listening to Aunt Liu's words. It's different to have your natal family caring and supporting you. At least when a man is unreliable, you still have your natal family to rely on for the time being. Chi Daniu nodded and said, "Thank you, Mom. I'll make a note of it. Even if we get married in the future, I will still be filial to you and Dad." Good boy. Aunt Liu's eyes turned red. She had raised such a good girl to someone else. Hey, this is how raising a daughter means. You have to get married and leave home. Fortunately, De Niu is a teacher in a primary school and has built a house in Kijia village. It is close to each other, so it will be easier to come and go in the future. Afterwards, the matchmakers and the men's matchmakers came over one after another. Chi De Niu's husband Songming's eyes lit up when he saw his wife. She looked really good today and she was smiling happily. At the prompting of the matchmaker, the two parties thanked their parents and elders, and then Chi De Niu got on Songming's bicycle and bid farewell to everyone with tears in her eyes. Watching Songming riding his bicycle farther and farther, the red color on Chi Daniu's body became smaller and smaller, and everyone felt less melancholy. Aunt Lu finally couldn't help but cry. Liang Hongyu and Zhao Dejiao, who were standing next to her, came to try to persuade her. After all, it was a happy event, and there were so many guests at home. Aunt Lu quickly calmed down and greeted the guests for a banquet. As an unmarried woman, Chi Jinmin went to get married with several girls in the village. As for Chi Xiaoyan, He Tian Tian, who is already married, can only have banquets at home. Thinking about the children at home, He Tian Tian ate some casually and hurried home to take care of the children. Grandma Chi San, old man Chi, didn't want to go to the banquet, so Aunt Lu personally sent some food suitable for the elderly. When He Tian Tian returned home, she happened to see Grandma Chi San and old man Chi eating. The mistress was drinking milk and watching others eating. Huoruiman knew how to eat since she was a child, so she didn't have to worry about others. "Did you finish the meal so quickly?" Grandma Chi-san asked, I'm not full yet, please come back for more. Okay, He Tian was indeed not full, so she went to the kitchen and filled a bowl of rice, eating some for herself and giving some to the mistress. Is the wedding a success? Grandma Chi-san asked, have you delivered the things at the bottom of the box that I asked you to bring just now? Sent it to me, the girl likes it very much, He Tian said. Seeing the girl getting married, I remembered that when I got married before, my parents might have felt the same way, and secretly shed tears. Yes, Grandma Chi-san said with a smile, that's how it is when you marry a daughter. You can't be in front of your mother anymore. Your parents are always worried about how well you will live. But Songming is good, Grandma Chi-san said with a smile, big girl, your life will be very good in the future, so don't be sad. Old man Chi smiled and said, everyone has his own life. Daniu is a smart woman and can manage her own life well. Yes, Grandma Chi-san nodded. By the way, Tian, you have been here for more than half a month. It's time for you to pack your things and go back to Nanjing. Your father-in-law and mother-in-law have probably grown their necks waiting for you. Hey, we are far away from each other, so we can't see each other often, He Tian said with emotion, but for the sake of life, they had to go their separate ways. Old man Chi smiled and said, don't be sad, Tian. When the weather gets cooler, your Grandma Chi and I will go to Yanjing. Haha, there is a military parade on National Day, please invite me there. I didn't want to go before, but now I can go and have a look while I can still move, Old man Chi said with a smile, just in time to meet those old brothers. He Tianation's eyes lit up and she said, okay, my family has a lot of houses. I will definitely live in my house when the time comes, and let me be filial to my parents. Yes, I will, Grandma Chi-san smiled, so many years have passed in the blink of an eye, and I want to see it too. Hearing that Grandma Chi and Old Man Chi were going to Yanjing, He Tianation's melancholy disappeared. After Chi Daniu returned home on the third day, she brought her husband to give gifts in person. After the gathering, He Tian and Huo Yingji took their children and left Kijia village for Nanji under the protection of the guards. 2 days ago, He Tian asked Huo Yingji to send a telegram. Zhang Lifang and Huo Jekan finally welcomed their son, daughter-in-law, grandson, and granddaughter. They cleaned up the house early, and had the quilts and things in the house cleaned early. It's just that the old courtyard we live in now is no longer the old courtyard, but the provincial party committee compound. Huo Jekan, as the second in command in charge of the economy, lives in a 3-story villa. Fortunately, this place is not far from where Zhang Lifang works, otherwise Zhang Lifang would not be willing to live here. Today Zhang Lifang specially changed her shift with others and directed the nanny to prepare more meals. Secretary Guo has already taken someone to pick him up and will probably be back soon. Secretary Guo came to pick him up in person and walked through a special passage. He got off the car here and walked directly through the special passage. There was no need to queue with other people. Because it was night, the mistress had already fallen asleep. Huo Ruwa and Huo Ruiman were in good spirits and kept shouting that Grandma had prepared delicious food and they wanted to eat more. Huo Jekan saw that his wife was so busy that she was actually talking and didn't need her own things, but she just didn't listen and insisted on helping. Alas, Huo Jekan never looked forward to Zhang Lifang's cooking skills. He was just infected by her emotions and felt very excited. As soon as they got off the car, Huo Ruwa and Huo Ruiman ran into the house and shouted, "Grandpa, Grandma." Hearing this voice, Huo Jekan quickly threw away the book in his hand, stood up and walked out. "Oh, good grandson, good granddaughter," Huo Jekan smiled, opened the door himself, went to the yard, and greeted the child. In summer, it's still early in the day, and many people are outside enjoying the cool air, or going for a walk after dinner. When I saw a young couple with 3 children, the child was named Grandpa Huo Jekan, I guessed that the son of a high-ranking official and his family were here to visit relatives. Many people are envious. The leader's son is good-looking, his daughter-in-law is beautiful, and he has 2 grandsons and a granddaughter. Many leaders feel heartbroken when they think about having only one grandson or granddaughter in their family. But this is a national policy. If you want to work, you can't have more children. Hey, there are some things that I can't envy anymore. Huo Jekan hugged the 2 children, and then went to see Huo Rufeng in Huo Yingjia's arms. The little guy slept soundly, and his little mouth wriggled a few times from time to time. Hurry in, you've had a hard journey, Huo Jekan said with a smile. Your mother is busy in the kitchen, so she probably hasn't heard the sound yet. Just as she was talking, the 2 older children had already begun to surround Zhang Lifang and call her grandma. Zhang Lifang was in so much pain that she kissed this one and then that one. Dad, Mom has worked hard too, he Tian smiled and said, let's talk about it after we go in. There were some people outside, looking over here and saying hello to Huo Jekan. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 967. 965. Especially Li Qiang, who was not far away, said with a smile, Brother Huo, this is your son and daughter-in-law, right? After not seeing each other for several years, Li Qiang did not dare to greet Huo Yingjie directly, and he Tian was afraid of admitting his mistake. Yes, my kids are here to play during summer vacation, Huo Jekan said with a smile. Yingjie, Tian, that's your Uncle Li. Hello, Uncle Li, he Tian and Huo Yingjie greeted. Okay, your parents often talk about you, Li Qiang said. Now that I'm here, stay with them. Yes, Uncle Li, Huo Yingjie smiled and said. Uncle Li, go sit in the house. No, it's rare for your family to get together, so you should talk first. I'll come back tomorrow, Li Qiang said with a smile. Okay, you go in. Li Qiang passed by the door and did not come in. This is human nature. It's a time for family reunion, so he shouldn't join in the fun. After closing the door, Zhang Lifang smiled and said, hurry up and wash up. Come over for dinner right away. Okay, Grandma is so kind. Ruiman is hungry, Huo Ruiman said crisply. Grandma, can you tell me where the bathroom is? Come, Grandma will take you there, Zhang Lifang said with a smile, one on each side, leading the children to wash up. After everyone had washed up briefly and came to the dining room, the nanny had already served the food. Huo Jekan sat in the main seat, and the others sat on both sides. He Tian arranged for the 2 children to sit opposite Huo Yingjie. It's very hot in Nanxi. Is it cool for you in Qijia village? Huo Jekan asked. He had a good impression of Qijia village, especially Qi Dazu, the village party secretary of Qijia village. Huo Yingjie nodded and said with a smile, it's very cool. There are hot springs over there. It's very comfortable to soak in. That's okay. The 3 children will probably feel hot when they come to Nanxi, Huo Jekan said with a smile. It's cooler at night now, so it will be more comfortable to sleep at night. Seeing that her grandfather kept talking and refused to eat, Huo Ruiman said, Grandpa, thank you for your hard work. Eat chicken legs. This chicken leg was just given to her by Grandma. Huo Jekan was stunned for a moment, then smiled broadly and said, Grandpa doesn't like to eat chicken drumsticks, Ruiman likes to eat them, so let Ruiman eat them. Hearing that Grandpa said he didn't like eating chicken legs, Huo Ruiman put the chicken legs back with a smile and asked, Grandpa, what do you like to eat? Grandpa likes to eat vegetables, Huo Jekan said with a smile. As he gets older, it is appropriate to have a lighter meal at night. Huo Ruiman obediently gave Huo Jekan some fungus vegetables and said, Grandpa, eat vegetables. Thank you, Ruiman. Huo Jekan smiled and ate the food brought by his granddaughter. Huo Ruwa saw the envy on her grandma's face, gave her a piece of braised pork and said, Grandma likes to eat meat. Grandma likes to eat meat, Zhang Lifang said with a smile. Our Ruwa and Ruimin are sensible and filial. Huo Yingja, he Tian Tian smiles, and the children are filial, which is better than anything else. After dinner in the evening, Zhang Lifang rushed the whole family upstairs to rest. Huo Ruwa and Huo Ruimin all have their own rooms. The third daughter, Huo Rufeng, is still young and lives with her parents. Huo Ruimin entered her room and was surprised by the pink princess room. I like this room so much. I want to go down and thank grandma. Huo Ruimin ran down. Dong dong dong. Zhang Lifang, while Huo Jekan was talking, saw her granddaughter coming over and asked, Ruimin, is something wrong? Is there something missing in the room? No, grandma, I don't lack anything. Huo Ruimin smiled. I came here to tell grandma that my room is very good and I like it very much. Thank you, grandma. Zhang Lifang's heart almost melted when she heard her granddaughter's words. She stepped forward to hug Huo Ruimin and said with a smile, as long as Ruimin likes it. Ruimin likes it very much. Huo Ruimin smiled, then held Zhang Lifang's head in both hands and kissed her twice. Yeah. Zhang Lifang also kissed her granddaughter and said, Ruimin is the most well-behaved. Okay, grandma, I'm going to kiss grandpa and go to bed. Huo Ruimin smiled, got out of Zhang Lifang's arms, ran to grandpa, and kissed grandpa twice on the face. Grandpa, grandma, good night. Huo Ruimin had just gone out when Huo Ruwa came over, holding a small square box in one hand and a delicate bamboo tube as thick as an adult's wrist in the other. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang were happy, but they didn't know what their grandson would give them. Grandpa, grandma, good evening. Huo Ruwa was polite and restrained in expressing his emotions. This is a square box. It contains some beautiful colored pebbles that my father and I found in the creek at the back of Kijia village. My father and I drilled them into. I string them into bracelets and give them to my grandmother. My father said they can keep them warm in winter and cool in summer. Zhang Lifang listened, took the box, and opened it. It was indeed handmade. There was only one. It was made of red pebbles, white pebbles, yellow, and green. It was very beautiful. She liked it very much. Zhang Lifang took it out and put it on her hand. She smiled brightly and said, Okay, grandma likes it very much and will wear it every day from now on. Only grandma has it, doesn't grandpa have it? Huo Jekan said, unable to wait for the gift in his grandson's hands. Yes, grandpa, this is your gift. Huo Ruwa said with a smile. This is wild mountain tea made from some old tea leaves that my father and I picked in the mountains and made using a special processing method in Kijia village. Although the taste is not as good as that of spring. The tea is good, but the effect is great. Huo Ruwa presented the gift he had prepared with both hands. Huo Jekan took it, opened it, and smelled it, and nodded. It seems to have a medicinal fragrance. Yes, this is made with a local medicinal material, which can also be said to be a medicinal tea. Huo Ruwa said, I hope grandpa can always be healthy. Okay, grandpa likes it very much. Huo Jekan smiled. Okay, thank Ruwa for preparing gifts for us. It's late now, go back to bed. Grandpa will take Ruwa to play tomorrow. Okay. Okay, then goodbye grandpa and grandma. Huo Ruwa waved his hand and said goodbye to grandpa and grandma. Good night. Zhang Lifang sent her grandson away lovingly. After closing the door, Zhang Lifang was full of smiles. Oh my, I've never felt so happy as I do now. Zhang Lifang said excitedly, our family is harmonious and happy. Compared with those noisy and chaotic families in other places, it's really like heaven and earth. Yes, Huo Jekan smiled, a harmonious family is the key to success. Our family is fine, so we focus on work, so naturally we do better than others. That's right. Zhang Lifang smiled. Before Yingja and Tian Tian went to Kijia village, they were gone for such a long time, and I was not happy. But after they came back, I saw that although the three children were a little darker than before, they were in good health and sensible. it would be good for them to go out more. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 968. 966. Zhang Lifang actually misses her grandchildren so much that she wishes they could be in front of her all the time. Well, walk more, see more, and broaden the children's horizons, Huo Jekan said with a smile. Tian Tian and Yingzhi took the children out, firstly to visit Aunt Qi. After all, Aunt Qi is very kind to Tian Tian. Secondly, the scenery there is indeed good, and it is good for children to go there. Only by seeing more and walking more can we accumulate more experience. Okay, I'm being petty. I just miss my children so much, Zhang Lifang smiled. The moment she saw her son, daughter-in-law, grandson, and granddaughter, all her unhappiness disappeared. Huo Jekan smiled and said, "Then why don't I leave 3 children for you to take care of?" When Zhang Lifang heard this, she quickly waved her hands and said, "This is not possible. Let's not say that I have no energy. Besides, I can't take care of children. I am not sweet and careful." In the past, when Yingzhi was young, if he hadn't been a neighbor with Shuping, I guess Yingzhi would have eating cold food all day long. Haha, that's right. Huo Jekan also gave up his thoughts. He originally wanted to keep a child with him, but thinking that they were both busy and not suitable to take care of children, he decided to keep the child with his son and daughter-in-law. Zhang Lifang sat on the bed and said, "Tian Tian and Yingzhi have raised their children very well, and it is better for children to be with their parents. In front of us, kissing them every other generation will pamper their children even more and not teach them well." "Well, I understand, and I don't plan to keep the children anymore," Huo Jekan said with a smile. "I feel relieved to see them doing so well. From now on, it's just the 2 of us, and our children and grandchildren will have their own blessings, no matter how many things they have." Zhang Lifang turned sideways and said, "Yes, although the 2 of us are lonely, we still have work. It would be so irresponsible to leave the child alone without time to take care of it. We have to leave it to the nanny. Besides, Tian Tian and Yingzhi is usually easy to talk to, but if he really wanted to keep the child, the 2 of them would not be happy." "Haha, come on, let's not talk about the kids anymore, let's talk properly." Huo Jekan smiled and turned his attention away from the kids. He has always understood that the only person who can always be with him in this life is his wife. Zhang Lifang smiled and talked about the hospital with her husband. Huo Jekan also talked to Zhang Lifang about work and the relationship with her colleagues, so that Zhang Lifang could understand how to get along with each other and be aware of the interpersonal relationships. Early the next morning, which happened to be Sunday, a family of 7 entertained guests at home. The Li family's husband and wife, as well as other people in the family's courtyard, also brought some gifts and came to sit at the door. Zhang Lifang took He Tian Tian and introduced him to everyone. Huo Jekan took his son to the study and introduced him to some colleagues. Huo Yingzhi is not in the same system as them, and he is usually in Yanjing, so he is not very familiar with everyone. Except for Li Qiang and Secretary Guo, no one else knew Huo Yingzhi well. Huo Yingzhi was very polite, but mostly he listened to what everyone was saying and occasionally poured water for everyone, like a polite junior. Several of them had family backgrounds in the military, knew some things, and knew something about Huo Yingzhi. Those are the top geniuses in country H, and there is no material that cannot be researched. At a young age, Huo Yingzhi is already chief engineer Huo in a top materials research institute, and his future is limitless. As long as a request is made, materials can always be produced in the shortest possible time and used immediately in weapons manufacturing, which plays a very important role in promoting key areas. This is still his son, Huo Jekan's eldest brother and nephew, and he has more important work in the central government. There are not many men in the upper class circles who hold important positions. The whole day today was spent like this. Although I'm a little tired, this is a favor and I can't refuse it. When working in a position, you must always abide by the rules above. This situation will only last for one day, because tomorrow is Monday, and on working days, everyone in the family home goes to work. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang also went to work. There are only Huo Yingzhe, He Tiantian and 3 children at home, and they can finally have a good rest. This time, Grandma Wang didn't want to travel, so she didn't follow her and stayed in Yanjing. In the yard, He Tiantian and Huo Yingzhe were lying comfortably on the rocker. Huo Ruhua and Huo Ruimin were playing not far away. As for Huo Rufeng, he was held by Huo Yingzhe, placed on his stomach, and fell asleep. It's rare to have leisure time, and no one wants to talk too much. After a whole day of rest, He Tiantian finally recovered. I'm going to the shop tomorrow to have a look, He Tiantian said. I've been away for such a long time. Although I looked through the account books, I haven't been back once. Huo Yingzhe nodded and said, okay, I'll go with you. No, you can take care of the children at home, He Tiantian said. When we go out, the children will definitely follow us out crying. By then, there will be so many people, big and small, that will affect the shop. Business. Huo Yingzhe looked at his little son, who was sleeping on his belly and drooling, and was speechless. The eldest daughter and the eldest son are already sensible. All they need to do is say a word before leaving. But the youngest mistress is not so easy to talk to. Anyway, she will cry when she can't see He Tiantian. If her father is around, she will howl a lot enough. Because of the mistress, the two rarely go out together. Okay, let Zhongning and Xiewu follow you to protect you, Huo Yingzhe said. I'm not going anywhere at home anyway. Hearing the disappointment in Huo Yingzhe's tone, He Tiantian smiled and said, I will go through the shop in Nanxi tomorrow. I have already seen the usual account books, and the senior accountant I hired has also come to check the accounts, so it doesn't need to be too much, it's just a long trip. Let's go to Suanwu Lake the day after tomorrow. Okay, I'll have someone clean it tomorrow. Let's go there to escape the heat, Huo Yingzhe said with a smile. He Tiantian nodded repeatedly and said, I kind of want to go swimming. Knowing that this would be the case, Huo Yingzhe shook his head and laughed, and said, okay, I will accompany you then. But we'd better go during the day and come back at night. After all, our parents haven't seen us and our children for a long time. We came to Nanxi, if you don't stay with them, they probably feel uncomfortable. Okay, He Tiantian nodded. Anyway, we have a car, so we can travel as we please. The couple discussed it and looked forward to the day after tomorrow. He Tiantian went to the store early the next morning and brought gifts to Sun Sihao and Qianchikan. When she arrived at the shop, Qin Suiu saw He Tiantian and said in surprise, oh my god, the boss is here, the boss is here. Many new employees don't know He Tiantian, but as one of the first batch of old employees, Qin Suiu knows He Tiantian. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 969. 967. Seeing this, He Tiantian shook her head and laughed, saying, okay, everyone, let's work hard, I'm just here to take a look. Qin Suiu was very excited, but she did not put down her work, because there were many customers now, so she had to lead her employees to speed up the work at hand, hoping to work faster and get praise from the big boss. He Tiantian nodded to everyone and entered the shop. Sun Sihao happened to be in the shop, checking the hygiene situation everywhere. Uncle Sun, thank you for your hard work, He Tiantian stepped forward and said with a smile. She had just taken a quick look and found that the shop was more organized than before. No wonder sales were rising. When Sun Sihao saw He Tiantian, he thought he had seen it wrong. He rubbed his eyes and found that it was really he. Tian Tian. Tian Tian, is it really you? Sun Sihao said excitedly, let's go to the office. It's too hot in the back. He Tian Tian shook her head and refused, let's go, I'll look around with you. Okay, I'll show you around, Sun Sihao said with a smile, but before you go, you have to change into sterilized work clothes. Okay, he Tian Tian agreed. It is indeed not suitable to wear clothes from outside. After all, there are more productions now than before, and everyone must be more cautious than before. Over there, he Tian Tian went to change into a sterilized white work clothes, and then followed Sun Sihao in. Even if Sun Sihao goes in, he still has to check the work badge. He Tian Tian didn't have a work card and was interrogated for a while. It was Sun Sihao's guarantee that he was allowed in. Everyone inside is wearing white chef uniforms and hats to ensure hygiene as much as possible. After looking around inside, he Tian Tian was very satisfied. Coming out of it, he Tian Tian changed her clothes again and returned to the office with Sun Sihao. Tian Tian, I'll get you a work permit later, so you don't need to be questioned when you come in. Sun Sihao was a little embarrassed. The big boss was blocked outside and couldn't enter the workshop. He always felt something was wrong. He Tian Tian nodded and said, no, I don't come here often anyway. Leave the shop to Uncle Sun, I'll be careful. Thank you for your trust. Sun Sihao was very excited. He received a share of his salary from the shop, as well as various bonuses. In Nanji, he was considered a rich man. Furthermore, Sun Sihao is good at investing. He may not be good at anything else, but he can buy a house for investment. Over the years, the houses purchased one after another have increased a lot in value. Also, as the couple are getting older, this is enough for them to support themselves in their old age, and they no longer have the desire to start their own business. They just work hard here and they will always live a good life in the future. After sitting for a while, he Tian Tian smiled and said, Uncle Sun, please do your business. I will go to Uncle Qian's place to see you. I don't have anything to do today, so I'll accompany you to take a look. Sun Sihao said, I just happened to tell you about the situation in Nanji on the way. Okay. Let's take a walk together. He Tian nodded and got into the car with Sun Sihao. Chicken is mainly responsible for purchasing livestock and poultry. He slaughters them every morning in the suburbs outside the city and then sends them to shops in the city for processing. In recent years, Sanfan Qiao's business has been so good. On the one hand, it is because of the ingredients and good service. On the other hand, it is because of the good raw materials. Wu Yaoliang's father and cousin are responsible for the supply, and they have been doing well over the years. However, due to the large demand, Chicken and Sun Sihao calculated that they could not let the Wu family be responsible for the supply of raw materials, so they found another one with more strength. In this way, it will not only improve the competition between the two companies, but also allow them to invest more energy and make them aware of the crisis. Even if there are different suppliers, they will not lower the price, they will just provide good products according to the market price. This way, even though it takes a lot of effort, the profits are huge and both suppliers are happy. Half an hour later, we arrived at the suburbs outside the city. Chicken is checking around, which shows that he is usually very serious. Tian Tian is here, there is some smell in here, let's go to the office and sit down. Chicken greeted. Even though the hygiene here is good, there is still some smell. He Tian Tian smiled and said, Uncle Qian, I'm here to check the work. Let's go inside and take a look around. Haha, okay, as long as you don't mind the smell. Chicken said with a smile, come this way, I will show you. If there is anything that is not up to standard, you can correct me and I will correct it immediately. Chicken spoke cheerfully and led them inside. But I also wore a cleaning suit outside. Although there is some smell, it is very clean, with more than a dozen workers cleaning it all the time. He Tian Tian didn't find anything wrong, so she followed Qian Chicken back to the office. How is it? Tian Tian, are you satisfied? Qian Chicken asked with a smile. Now he is living a good life, not only because of his salary, but also because he Tian Tian helped him find his family. In this way, Qian Chicken is pregnant with 12. I am extremely grateful for working for he Tian Tian. Satisfied, I feel relieved to leave the Nanji business to my two uncles. He Tian Tian smiled and said, Uncle Qian, this is a jar of medicinal tea for you. Sun Sihao pointed to the cup he carried with him and said with a smile, I have already drank it. It tastes good. My mouth and throat are refreshed. Everything Tian Tian sells is good, Qian Chicken said with a smile, then I'm welcome. It's almost noon, let's go have dinner together. He Tian Tian refused, no, there are 3 children at home. We can't have dinner with our 2 uncles. I'll call everyone out to have dinner together another day. Seeing what he Tian Tian said, Sun Sihao and Qian Chicken couldn't continue to persist. He Tian Tian is still very satisfied with today's surprise inspection. As long as they continue to be so meticulous, the business of Sanfan Kiao in Nanji will definitely get better and better. Answer home, just in time for dinner. When the junior Huo Rufeng saw that her mother was back, she kept asking her mother to hug her instead of her father. Hey, you're so delicate, he Tian Tian muttered, pinching his little face. This kid kept laughing and had no idea his mother was talking about him. This kid doesn't care about that much, he just knows that he hasn't seen his mother for a long time and misses her very much, so he has to pester her. At nap time, this kid didn't sleep anymore. He would cry as soon as he left He Tianation's side. He Tian Tian could only do nothing but coax him. After finally falling asleep, He Tian Tian glared at Huo Yingjia and said, Look at your son, he is so clingy and squeamish. Yeah, you didn't feel happy after you left. Fortunately, Ruwa and Ruimin helped to entertain him, otherwise it would have caused a lot of trouble. Huo Yingjia smiled bitterly, I don't know who this kid looks like. Of course, like you were so clingy when you were a child, He Tian Tian complained. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 970. 968. Regarding this accusation, Huo Yingjia shrugged and could not deny it. In front of He Tian Tian, he, like his son, likes to cling to He Tian Tian. It was like this when I was a kid, and it is like this now. How are you today? Huo Yingjia changed the subject and stopped talking, lest the benefits would be gone. Very good, Uncle Qian, Uncle Sun did a good job, and there is no difference from what he usually reports. He Tian Tian smiled, this way I can rest assured and don't need to worry about the business of Sanfan Kiao in Nanji. In the afternoon, He Tian Tian decided to take Huo Yingjia and the children to Huang Jingli's home. It had been agreed in advance, so Huang Jingli's family was at home, waiting for the arrival of Huo Yingjia, He Tian Tian and the children. Huang Jingli was also lucky enough to catch the last train when family planning started and gave birth to another child, a daughter, which makes her a good name. I heard that He Tian Tian was coming, so I made preparations early. Even Wu Yaliang took half a day off. Huang Jingli and He Tian Tian each held their children. As for the older children, they were playing in the yard without anyone taking care of them. Tian Tian, we haven't seen each other for 2 years. Huang Jingli was excited. Originally, this summer vacation, we wanted to go to Yanjing to visit you, but I heard that you went to Kijia village. I guess you will definitely come to Nanji, just waiting for you to come back. Yes, we went to Kijia village to visit Grandma Chi-san. When you are free in the future, when you go to Yanjing, I will greet you well. He Tian Tian smiled and said, by the way, are you okay? I'm pretty good, Huang Jingli said with a smile, it's just that my parents heard that my family was making money and came over to ask for money. However, my parents-in-law stopped me and only gave them 50 a month. Weren't you 20 before? He Tian Tian was stunned. It was really terrible to have a family like that. Huang Jingli smiled bitterly and said, yes, but they said that 20 yuan was enough to live in the past, but now it is not enough, and the money has to be increased. My father-in-law and mother-in-law didn't miss this little money and gave it to them. Hey, as long as they don't look for trouble, it doesn't matter if you give me some money. Did Lin Xiru come to trouble you? He Tian asked. Huang Jingli's mother-in-law's family only needed money, but Lin Xiru was not that easy to deal with. Lin Xiru, Huang Jingli sneered, how down and out are you now? What's wrong? He Tian asked, what happened? If it were anyone else, He Tian wouldn't care, but when it came to Lin Xiru, she wanted to pay more attention. Not just because of gossip, but because Lin Xiru is an invincible little strongman who might cause a lot of problems. Like maggots on the tarsal bones, they can't bite but kill people. Then Lin Xiru and Li Mingkai got together, and Qi Zhenzhen was a powerful person, and came here to make trouble. The methods used were really disgusting. Not only did she go to Li Mingkai's work to make trouble, but she also went to Lin Xiru's work to make trouble. People can make trouble. It's not just a joke. Qi Zhenzhen took the photos of Li Mingkai and Lin Xiru's affair. The evidence is solid. Both of them were suspended due to style issues. Huang Jingli said with a smile, now that Lin Xiru has no job, the two of them opened a dance club together. So Qi Zhenzhen caused such a big fuss, is she divorced? Already divorced, He Tian replied, in Nan City, accountant Qi may not be able to help my daughter, but in Qijia village, Daowen County, 1/3 of an acre of land, it is not so easy for Li Mingkai to take advantage. All the children are given to him. Qi Zhenzhen, you, Li Mingkai, still have to pay alimony every month. Haha, although Qi Zhenzhen is not a very good person, what she does is really refreshing, Huang Jingli said with a smile, much better than Lin Xiru's method. He Tiandian nodded and said, okay, Huang Jingli, you should be more careful. Then Lin Xiru and Li Mingkai opened a dance hall, and the people they met were all gangsters, hooligans, and the like. You are in Nanxi, and you have a festival, maybe where it just happened. Well, I made a note of Tian, Huang Jingli said, but Lin Xiru is also worried about this business. After all, it is not a serious business. If she comes to provoke me, I can find someone to cause trouble for her. That's right, He Tian smiled, Qin Li's uncle seems to be the head of the Public Security Bureau. If you have anything to do, you can go to him. When I go back, I will talk to my father-in-law and help you if necessary. One time. Thank you, Tian, Huang Jingli said, as long as she doesn't come to me, I won't trouble her. Although I'm not a kind person, I also feel that arguing with such a person would lower my style. To a certain extent, people like Lin Xiru are pitiful. Do you sympathize with her? He Tian raised her eyebrows. This Huang Jingli was too virginal. I don't sympathize with her, Huang Jingli said, Lin Xiru is smart, but her intelligence is not used in the right place, and she doesn't work hard. She always wants to get something for nothing, so she is where she is today. This is her own fault. Seeing Huang Jingli say this, He Tian felt satisfied. With such relaxed conditions in Qijia village, among the educated youth, she is the only one with the most scheming and clever ideas, and she has ruined herself, He Tian said, thinking about Wang Lei, Sister Wu, Ye Xiaofan, Zhang Qingshan, Huashan, Kui Ying and the others were admitted to university through their own efforts. Lin Xiru is also smart, otherwise she would not be able to get into college, but she never wants to take the right path and always wants to get something for nothing. Although Li Mingkai works hard, his mind is not right. He always thinks about romance and takes advantage of others. Don't you know that he is not the only smart person in the world? Forget it, go figure it out for yourself. He Tian and Lin Xiru talked together, Huo Yingzhe and Wu Yaoliang, old classmates, met and chatted together. Wu's father and Wu's mother were looking after the children outside, and the nanny was cooking. Wu Yaoliang had already researched low-cost solar water heaters. He originally wanted to go to Yanjing with his wife, but when he learned that they were not in Yanjing, he did not go. Yingzhe, Tian, my solar energy has been completed and I have applied for a patent. I now want to resign from the research institute and focus on this, Wu Yaoliang said. Now there are incentives for private enterprises, and I want to open a factory. Believe me, you will definitely make money, so hurry up and invest. He Tian listened and said with a smile, okay, you register the company and I will become a shareholder. I will only receive dividends and will not participate in the operation. Okay, I'll start working on it, Wu Yaoliang said with a smile. An initial investment of 2 million is required. How much can you invest? How much do you lack? He Tian asked. I want to invest in technology and invest 600,000 yuan, and I will be responsible for management, accounting for 51% of the shares. Is that okay? Wu Yaoliang asked. This is his hard work, so he wants to hold a controlling stake. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 971. 969. Furthermore, he has already quit his job, which means he is desperate and wants to make a career through starting a business. They have such courage, on the one hand, because Wu Yaoliang has indeed developed good things, and on the other hand, because of He Tian and rich friends like Huo Yingzhe, who can give them a lot of financial help. He Tian listened, nodded, and said, one of you is responsible for management, the other is responsible for technology, and you invested 600,000, accounting for 51%, which is very reasonable. Is there anyone else who contributes? If not, it's all out. If there is, then I will take less shares. Kui Ying over there said she could offer 300,000 yuan, and Qin Li said she could give 200,000 yuan. Let's see how you can contribute so that we can distribute the shares, Wu Yaoliang said, looking at Huo Yingzhe, He Tian. After hearing this, Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, then there is still a vacancy of 900,000 yuan. Let's do this. I will build an electric water heater, plus 900,000 yuan, accounting for 35% of the shares. I will not participate in the operation, but I will dispatch. Here comes the accountant. Electric water heater, Wu Yaoliang was excited. Do you know how to make this thing? Yes, I know, Huo Yingzhe said. I will send you the drawings after a while. You will know after you try it. As you know, there are some places in the city that cannot install solar energy due to limited conditions. So it is more convenient and cost-effective to install an electric water heater in the bathroom. Originally, I thought about developing solar energy now, and then developing electric water heaters when it reaches scale, Wu Yaoliang said. In this case, will our investment be less? Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, it's not that small. There are many factories that are not operating now. You can directly purchase a factory and then use the factory to obtain loans and buy equipment. As long as the things are of good quality, good appearance, and respond to the advertising, don't worry about running out of business. Once you make money, you can expand your production. Well, let's do that. Wu Yaoliang was excited and full of hope for the future. When he got home in the evening, He Tian asked, is that electric water heater some patent you got last year? Yes, Huo Yingzhe said, we already have it abroad. We can get a few units directly from abroad. We also have our own patents and drawings, and we can quickly produce finished products for sale. I hope so, He Tian nodded. Now that everyone has a career and their income is increasing, I will donate some more things to the welfare home in the fall. Okay, Huo Yingzhe said with a smile, if you are poor, you can take care of yourself. If you are rich, you can help the world. If we are rich, we should help those poor people more and accumulate blessings for our families. Yeah, seeing her husband agree. He Tian was very happy. After a trip, I actually found 2 investment projects. He Tian only invests money and does not run the business, which makes her feel much more relaxed. Money is enough for her. She doesn't have that much energy to do it herself. Cooperating with other people she trusts is the best way. When the father-in-law was free, he Tian told Huo Jekan about Wu Yaliang. Dad, you see, although this is a private enterprise, it has its own 2 product patents. If it develops well, it will be a product developed by our country, instead of blindly introducing foreign technology. In some aspects, we will also not bad. He Tian showed Huo Jekan the information prepared by Wu Yaliang and Huo Yingzhe. Huo Jekan took it, looked at it carefully, and said, "That's right. If you really have a patent, don't we attract foreign investment because we want to learn advanced foreign management and technology? Since there is, we will also support it, so that we can truly promote the development of national industry." Huo Yingzhe was drinking tea beside him and echoed, "Dad, you are right. We are not telling you this to want you to open a back door for Wu Yaliang's company. We just want to give your father a suggestion. When attracting foreign investment, you cannot regardless of local industrial development, it will probably take a long time to digest foreign technologies into our own. But if we have our own technologies, we must vigorously develop them, and we must not just provide them with high-tech preferential policies. Some foreign investors are good at policies, but they don't pay attention to some domestic private enterprises. In the final analysis, the industrial development of a country must be in the hands of our own people. My family, its heart must be different." After hearing this, Huo Jekan took it seriously. He had indeed ignored these things before. He had to think carefully about how to encourage the development of private enterprises. "Yeah, that's right, I've written it down." Huo Jekan nodded. "By the way, Yingzhe, with the development of foreign capital and private economy, it has an impact on state-owned enterprises and collective enterprises, and this impact is getting bigger and bigger. Now many leaders of state-owned enterprises have come to the government to report the situation, which gives me a headache." Huo Yingzhe smiled after hearing this and said, "In the past, in the planned economy, everyone produced according to the tasks set by the above. It was not for the purpose of profit. They worked more and less, and the salary was the same for both good and bad work, so many factories are unwilling to update production technology, nor do they want to improve management methods and service attitudes. Now that the market is liberalized, various economies are gradually beginning to coexist. State-owned enterprises are still the same as before. In terms of technology, they are not as good as those of foreign capital. In terms of flexibility and positivity, the level is not as good as that of private enterprises. They have been relying on the government and resting on their laurels. Sooner or later, no one will want what they produce." Huo Jekan's expression changed drastically after hearing this. He knew that his son never said empty words, and he made assertions about everything, especially political matters. "Yingzhe, our country's state-owned enterprises occupy important fields and industries in the country, and are the main source of national fiscal revenue. If the competitiveness of state-owned enterprises is not strong, it will directly affect local fiscal revenue, and the impact will be very huge." Huo Jekan said sadly, "The current state-owned enterprises have rigid management and backward technology, which is indeed very serious. If we don't pay attention to it, it will indeed bring huge disaster to the country in the future. Yes, so we must formulate relevant policies, change our business philosophy, take the initiative to occupy the market, instead of waiting for the market to come to us, and produce things that are suitable for the needs of the people, rather than dealing with the tasks above, and those. The scientific research technology in the school should also try its best to adapt to market demand and transform it into real productivity, rather than copying reports directly from the laboratory and storing them in the archives, Huo Yingji said. Some outdated military technologies can be transformed into civilian applications. Improve private production technology. The topics studied by Huo Yingji's Waxi Rare Materials Research Institute are all materials directly customized according to the requirements of relevant departments, so there is no research waste, cost savings, and they can be used to the maximum extent. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 972. 970. He can manage his own 1/3 of an acre, but he cannot control the whole country. Now that my father is encountering such difficulties, he would like to remind him that economic reform has begun, and economic opening is only the first step. My father has successfully completed the first step, and he will inevitably proceed to the second step to improve the economic reform. It is necessary to improve the competitiveness of state-owned enterprises, and the criterion of survival of the fittest is a top priority. After taking the second step, my father's career will reach a higher level. After hearing this, Huo Jekin was silent for a long time and nodded. Well, Yingji, what you said is that I thought more and saw more from your words. Now I really need to pay more attention to it. Dad, think about it yourself, it will be of great use to your career, Huo Yingji said. You can write it down, and while I am in Nanchi, we father and son can have a good discussion. When He Tian saw her husband and father-in-law discussing business, she went to the kitchen to make tea and listened quietly. Well, okay, I'll go to the study first and write down some of my ideas. After I go to the factory below to have a look in the next few days, we can continue the discussion, Huo Jekin said. Some things have been said and done before. That is political achievement and outstanding ability. Recently he had some feelings, but they were not clear. But after listening to his son's words, he suddenly became enlightened. Huo Jekin couldn't wait. He had a lot to express, which would become the cornerstone of his career. In the next few days, Huo Jekin did not pay special attention to Wu Yaliang's factory. Instead, he inspected everywhere. For 3 days in a row, he secretly visited 5 or 6 companies. As expected, he saw a lot of real situations. This situation is completely different from when I usually come for inspections. Workers have a lax work attitude, management is loose, and the defective rate of products is high. Every time Huo Jekin comes back, he feels a lot of emotions. 3 days later, Huo Jekin locked himself in the study during the weekend and did not come out all day, not even when eating. Seeing this, Zhang Lifang came over, pinched Huo Yingji's ears, and yelled angrily, "You brat, did you say something to your father again? Now you are hiding in the study without eating or drinking. You are trying to become an immortal." Huo Yingji was also helpless. Why was his father so unable to handle things? No matter how big the matter is, you should eat, drink, and sleep before you have the energy to do things. Mom, I'm going to call Dad and ask him to come down for dinner, Huo Yingji begged for mercy. With just one word, Dad would definitely come down. Huo Ruimin watched Grandma twisting Dad's ears and laughing beside her. Mom, the children are here. Save some face for your son, Huo Yingji continued to beg for mercy. Hurry up and let go. Hurry up and call your dad down for dinner, Zhang Lifang said angrily. If you don't come down, I'm going to break down the door. I have a bad temper, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me, don't mess with me, Huo Ruimin was shouting from the side, imitating Zhang Lifang's tone. Huo Yingji felt humiliated by her daughter's imitation. Zhang Lifang also felt that she had ruined her son's tall image in front of her granddaughter, so she quickly let go and said, "Your father and I are joking, go over there and play with your brother." Daddy is so shy, Daddy is so shy, Huo Ruimin jumped up and ran away. Before leaving, she did not forget to stab Huo Yingji. Zhang Lifang looked a little embarrassed, but when she thought about her husband not caring about it, she felt angry. She glared at Huo Yingja and said, "Don't go up yet." Huo Yingja hurried up, knocked on the door and said, "Dad, come out quickly, Mom is losing her temper downstairs. If you don't open the door, Mom will come over with an axe and break down the door." Huo Jekan opened the door when he heard his son's voice. He was a little haggard, but he was in high spirits. "Come on, Yingja, how about you come and take a look at what I wrote?" Huo Jekan opened the door, dragged his son into the house, and closed the door again. Huo Yingja smiled bitterly, took it over and said, "Dad, let's go down to eat first, and we'll discuss it later. If you do this, I won't dare to tell you anything in the future, otherwise my mother will pinch you every time she wants to beat you here. You are my son, it doesn't matter how many times I get beaten for you," Huo Jekan said confidently. "Come on, let's talk about it." "Dad, I won't tell you if you don't want to eat." Just as Huo Yingja finished speaking, Zhang Lifang started knocking on the door outside. Huo Jekan smiled bitterly, "Hey, we can only wait until after dinner." Huo Yingja opened the door, and Zhang Lifang actually had an axe in her hand. "Why are you holding an axe when you say you're just eating?" Huo Jekan said, "Eat quickly, don't delay." Upon hearing this, Zhang Lifang was so angry that she reached out and pinched Huo Jekan's ears, regardless of whether her son was around or not. "Oh, please be gentle," Huo Jekan whispered, "my son is still here." Huo Yingja was also shocked. He had never seen his mother so powerful. "So what if you see it? I see that you are living like a dog at your age. You really think you are an immortal? Or something? If something happens, you won't come down to eat or sleep. Is there anyone like you?" Zhang Lifang complained, "I'm so angry that I won't give you face today." Maybe it was because the noise above was a bit loud. He Tian came down from upstairs and happened to see her mother-in-law on the second floor twisting her father-in-law's ears. He Tian looked embarrassed. It was neither a matter of leaving nor a matter of not leaving. The most embarrassing thing now is Huo Jekan. Being seen by his son is fine, but in front of his daughter-in-law, having his ears twisted by his own daughter-in-law, how will he see other people in the future? Zhang Lifang felt that this was more embarrassing than her granddaughter seeing her twisting her son's ears, so she quickly let go and said, "Okay, hurry up and eat." "I'm hungry, eat, eat." Huo Jekan went straight downstairs without looking up. Zhang Lifang followed. He Tianatian's face was slightly red, she looked at Huo Yingja and said, "Mother-in-law is very angry today. It's very big. He twisted my ears and then pinched my dad." Huo Yingja said with a smile, "But it's not my mom's fault, it's my dad's fault. He stopped eating when something happened and hid in the house all the time. My mother is worried about him too." "Haha, brother Yingja, do you think we will be like this as we get older?" He Tian smiled, "If you don't obey me, I will twist your ears." "Old married couple, I guess they are just like mom and dad." Huo Yingja said, "I hope we will be so loving when we are old. In fact, my mom is angry because she is worried about my dad. My dad looks bored on the surface, but in fact, he is so beautiful in his heart." "Haha, that's right. My mother also likes to nag my father, and my father will be impatient, but he still listens to what my mother says every time." He Tian agreed, their feelings have been integrated into their lives. Even if they quarrel and scold each other, it does not affect their relationship, but it is proof that they care for each other.